Hey, what's up, guys? This is Church of Caboose, and welcome back to my corner of the internet. In this video, I'm going to show you guys how my fire team and I managed to beat the Arms Dealer Nightfall Strike on GrandMaster difficulty. We happened to do this on Tuesday, March 23rd. Had a bit of fun. It's also a tough one. If you're thinking, well, the first week with the Devil's Lair wasn't that bad, it's not going to be too bad this time, you'd be sort of right, sort of not. So that's what this video is going to be all about. If you do find this video to be helpful, please let me know down below. If there's other things I can do to think that would make this more useful for you, also let me know, because I might be doing a guide for every Grandmaster, at least until I get Conqueror, so who knows? Let me know and maybe I can give you guys more of what you want. Also, make sure you guys like the video and subscribe to my channel. These kinds of interactions let me know more what you guys want to see from this channel, as well as really help me out. And you guys should subscribe because it's the right thing to do. So to kick this video off, we're going to be talking about fire team composition as well as weapon loadouts. Now, hopefully everyone's got a Titan, because we found two Titans running middle tree, the Banner Shield, the middle Void super tree with Ursa Furiosa gauntlets was incredibly helpful. So we had two Titans with Ursa Furiosas doing the Banner Shield and one Warlock doing Warlock. That was what worked really well for our team. So hopefully you guys are able to pull this off. The reason why is because you got lots of snipers, and these grenades this week will kill you instantly. Sometimes the Cabal stick you with their grenades and you're definitely gone. Other times, if you're just not paying that much attention to what hits the ground, you might get caught dead in your tracks like a deer in the headlights, and you're done. And unfortunately, the thing with Grandmasters is you got limited revives, so you don't want to lose revives for things that you can easily avoid. So Banner Shields really help out. The Furiosas, just like last week, make it where you get more super energy. And since we are in a position with Grandmaster, and the more damage you take and protect with that Banner Shield, the more super energy you get, you're still going to be getting about 80 to 90% ballpark of your super back every time you use it, as long as you're taking a good amount of damage. So that's going to be super helpful. The well was kind of more allowing us Banner Shield Titans to kind of trade back and forth with a little bit more safety and keeping us more exposed for longer. We were able to cycle some parts where we just went Banner Shield, Banner Shield, Banner Shield, Banner Shield, and a well eventually just kind of dropped behind us that made it a little bit more safe. Now let's go ahead and just talk about weapon loadouts. We had one Xenophage, one Anarchy, and one Code Duello. So that's what worked really well for us. The Xenophage, obviously, just like always, is a massive damage dealer, and there are a couple of solar shields. So you don't necessarily need to have a solar energy weapon, but there are some solar shields in the boss fight, so it's just a little bit easier if you have a solar weapon. Also, Xenophage tanks the boss, which is fantastic, because when you get to that final stage, as we'll talk about in the guide, you really want to just burn them as fast as you possibly can. Anarchy, as always, is fantastic for plucking away a couple of shots and going and hiding. When Grandmaster almost anything can one-shot you, it's a little bit nice to do some damage without having to be exposed. The Code Duello was because our other mate was running Izanami's Burden, and he wanted to have on that exotic sniper rifle for anti-barrier, so he was doing the Code Duello rocket launcher. Other weapons included typical and anti-barrier sniper rifles. I did my classic anti-barrier sniper rifle with Succession, so did another teammate, and a third was using Izanami's Burden. All were anti-barrier snipers. In our energy slots, we were doing hand cannons, because this week it is anti-barrier and unstoppable. If you want to have on Void hand cannons, for the most part, maybe a solar one, but it's really more important to have lots of Void, because Void is the extreme majority of the shields. So if you have that Xenophage, don't need to worry too much about having any other solar. And that should wrap up really what you're trying to do with your loadout. Some mods are going to be super helpful. Are going to be Sniper Rifle Finder, Sniper Rifle Scavenger, and then whatever equivalent Heavy Finder and Heavy Scavenger for what you're using. So I ran Sniper Heavy Finder and Scavenger, as well as Grenade Launcher Finder and Scavenger. In your chest, you want to probably have a reserve for one or the other, and if you're able to, maybe put on a Sniper Resistance mod. That should help out at least a little bit with all those scions that are clinking away at you. Or do some kind of a solar resistance mod or concussive dampener. Maybe it'll help out with the grenades, although I really don't think so. So you might be better off on this one to do sniper resistance or reserves for one or both of your special heavy weapons. Alright, so now that we've covered the loadouts and fire team composition, let's just kind of go just like last week, a little bit step by step for each area on how it works and what I recommend you guys doing, because this was what worked really well for us. I think this is a really good strategy because, as you guys can see there on the bottom of the screen, we had 13 revives at the boss fight when we killed him, and it worked out really well. Alright, let's go ahead and get on into it. In this part, the beginning of the strike, not too bad. You know, just got an unstoppable champion and an anti-barrier. Just make sure you take out the unstoppable first, because that champion's going to rush you down. Anytime you have two champions, where one is unstoppable and the other is anti-barrier, the unstoppable one has to have priority because it will actually hunt you down, whereas the anti-barrier will tend to get a little bit cozy in its spot and just kind of hang out there, so you can take out the anti-barrier when you are ready. And like other times, once that unstoppable is down, it's probably going to be a little bit useful to get rid of the ads and then deal with the anti-barrier. But how we dealt with almost every single champion, especially the anti-barriers, was our Izanamis loaded up the 4-time shot, hit him once in the head. We were already aimed in with our anti-barrier sniper rifles, because that shield will go whoop, right up, because that one shot from the Izzies will take out a good chunk of his life and will immediately destroy the shield, and that made all the anti-barriers rather easy. So having those special ammo finders for snipers is going to be incredibly helpful. And that kind of wraps it up for this part. So let's go ahead and just talk about the next room. While it's very similar, there's a couple of differences that are worth mentioning. In this section, the big difference is you're going to have a Thresh ship, which is a Cabal ship, as well as a core to deal with. So you want to take out those Threshers as fast as you can. There's only 2 of them, one in this room, and then one in the next one where you actually slam the core. They're not that bad. With Xenophage, they go down like 5-10 seconds, and if everyone else is shooting with their special or their hand cannons, it's even faster. And then the other thing to remember is with the core, you do not have to hold the core the whole time. The core just kind of procs the next stages of different things. So you can just grab the core and drop it and go deal with the ads. You don't have to have someone just hanging on to it. Or you can grab it, put it on the ground, take some shots, pick it back up, so that way you don't have to worry about running back. But either way, the main thing to remember is that the core does not have to be held onto the whole time. If it goes back to its original starting point, whatever. Worst case scenario, you run back, you grab it, and it starts the next phase of whatever it is that's going. In the case of this particular area, picking up the core should spawn ads in the next room when you run in, like those war beasts. Otherwise, that's about it. You just have to slam the core, and there's another Thresh ship to take care of. So doing this room, just like the room where you slam the core, is pretty much the exact same. There's going to be a couple of unstoppable champions, some anti-barriers, and overall, it's not horrible. Just take your time and move as a team. Feel free to use your supers if you wish. It's always better to use a super and not die, because with this strike in particular, lots of things are built around phases where you start the next thing. So if you need to get a super back before you go to the next room, you guys can just chill out and wait. You don't necessarily have to, but that's what you could do. Our team managed to finish this whole strike in about 30 minutes, maybe 28, so it's not too bad of a strike to do. It's just realize a lot of this goes at your own pace. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of show you guys our little trick for getting to the first big room that's actually kind of a pain in the butt with those couple of tanks. For this particular section, just see what I do on screen, and I would suggest you guys copy that. Going around and skipping that bridge saves you a ton of time, a lot of risk, and losing lots of easy lives that you might need later, as well as it's just faster. And we know things in Destiny are just a little bit faster. This is not a glitch, this is not an exploit, it's just in the map, and it's just an option. The only thing you really want to kill is going to be that champion that you can kind of see blasting us here on screen. If you want to get the best rewards, meaning your best chance of getting that Shadow Price auto rifle, adept version, and those mods, then you want to have to kill all the champions. And so you just come up to here and kill the champion. Not too bad, pretty easy to do. And now let's go ahead and talk about our wonderful tank boss room that is a big pain in the butt. Now this particular fight room area, in my opinion, is probably the hardest part of this Grandmaster Nightfall, other than the very last section of the boss fight. In this, you can see we got that tank right there, right when you get by this door. You don't have a lot of cover. You got all those ads. There's an unstoppable champion. There is a ton going on right by this door. This is the first time we're having 2 Banner Shield Titans. Is going to probably show to be incredibly useful, and you can see how we're cycling around these supers. We got the well making it so that way if we got a little gap between these Banner Shields, it's not that big of a deal. Just want to kind of take your time, really probably try to take that unstoppable out first. I know normally I talk about trying to do the ads and all that stuff before you do a champion, but in this case the unstoppable stays right there and makes it very difficult to deal with the tank, the ads, and the champions. If you do the champion first, then you can worry about the tank or the ads. Fire team's preference. Now, some things that really help with this is to remember that tank, just like that, will one-shot you. If you guys are all grouped up and you don't pay attention and you get hit by it, then you all die and go to orbit. So keeping some distance is a little bit useful. Also, ideally, pay more attention than we were in this shot of the tank coming at us, because that will just save you guys some lives. Other things to do would be to try to take advantage of your sniper rifles. If you can get out low-level ads that are spraying down your area or potentially going to be a problem if you were to clear out that area by the door, that will also help you guys out. Now, we're going to do a couple of other segments for this particular room just because there is so much going on. So this little segment is just dealing with the unstoppable right out the gates as well as the tank. Anarchy is really useful for doing some damage on the unstoppable as well as that tank. Xenophage is really great for breaking down the tank shields as well as dropping the unstoppable, and then of course in general just doing damage as you can and just be smart. So let's go ahead. What happens after the tank gets killed? Once you blow up the tank, you're obviously going to have to go and restart the next phase. But before that can happen, there's ads and there's 2 anti-barriers. So let me show you guys real quickly how we dealt with all of that. In this room, we're going to have 2 different parts with more than 1 champion. We got the one section with 2 anti-barriers and the other section with 3 unstoppables. In our opinion, and I guess my opinion, the anti-barriers were harder to deal with than the unstoppables because the unstoppables are kind of more trying to run at you. And we got tons of area in this room to build lots of distance, and so it's not that big of a deal. If we're doing the anti-barriers, it's a little bit trickier just because they do more with killing, they have lots of range, and they're really accurate with their shots. So kill out the ads, and what you guys want to do is just pick an anti-barrier. How I normally would go at these champions is I would try to stick a champion with a round of anarchy, because that will guarantee that shield is going to come up soon, so you can stun it, and it's like a big old beacon of arc, like, hey, this is the champion we are going after. Otherwise, you guys just communicate with yourselves as a team and deal with it the best you can. For the 3 unstoppables, those are going to spawn once you destroy that second and final tank. They're going to come out, and you guys can see that. Well, technically, they come out when you spawn that tank, but if you're doing it the way we do it, when you spawn that last tank, you hit that last lever, you all run away in the area where you're at, and so it kind of feels like the 3 unstoppables are spawning once you kill the tank. So how you deal with them is just like before, one at a time. Only in this case, I really suggest trying to use range as your friend, because it's really tough to deal with 3 unstoppables at once, much less on GrandMaster difficulty. So if you can get one stunned with the hand cannon, then use your Xenophage, sniper rifles, whatever, and just damage it. Remember, unstoppables do not get their health back, so you can stun them, damage, and then run away. You can stun all 3 and then do damage. Whatever works best for you guys. Just know there's 3 of them, and in general, it's going to be best to focus all 3. But if they're rushing you, you might as well stun all of them because you don't want to lose deaths just because you were too afraid about like shooting a different one. It's better just to stun them if you absolutely need to. And then just take them out as fast as you can. Alright, the next section of this strike, pretty much identical to the rest of it. Just gotta go nice and slow. Take your time. The boss fights where things get a little bit more tricky, and I want to spend more time there, so we're going to go ahead and go to the boss fight. In the boss fight, things get a little bit crazy. You can kind of tell there's not like a distinct hide here because no one's going to come at you. You got kind of wider open areas, but if you look around, we got tons and tons of cover. So we're going to have a couple of points we're going to want to hide out at a little bit, but if you got to run, it's better to run because you can always duck and dive behind all these like little barrel tank cabal looking engine ship type things, and you could probably get away with running around. By this point, hopefully you got plenty of revives and plenty of time because you might need to eat some of them up. Just like the room with the tank, you want to kill out all of the ads and then do boss damage. I'm sure some people are going to have the gut inclination of trying to absolutely burn our arms dealer boss, Zacchus Braun, all the way to the dirt as fast as they possibly can. That's not that great of an idea, because ads and things in this strike are spawned by phases, actions that you do, so you can control the pace of this strike. If you completely burn the boss, you're going to have all the ads spawning on you at once, unless you are literally able to go from his full health to no health in like less than 45 seconds, you're probably going to have a team wipe. It's going to be really frustrating because you're going to go to orbit. So what you want to do is kill all the ads, then you're going to want to proc the next stage. So it's going to be a lot of ads, and you're going to have a thresh ship come in, kill the thresh ship, then deal with the ads. Then you grab the core, then you deal with the ads. And you bank the core, and then you deal with the ads. And then you do like repeat that cycle over and over. And then the process when you come into this room is going to be boss damage. Ads, hide, core, or I guess thresh, core, ads, hide, boss damage. You can see this on screen. The general gist is if there's ads out on the playing field, take them out before doing the next thing to spawn more ads. It could be doing enough damage to the boss, or most likely it's going to be picking up the core. Now, it's not too bad if you do that strategy until the very end, because at the very end, the boss is out free roaming. We got two little phases where the boss goes up onto these pillars. Each pillar requires you to slam the core, so that way he will drop down and then either go to his next one or let you actually finish him off at the very end. Once you've done both those big, tall, giant pillars, the boss is going to be roaming around. There's going to be ads, there's going to be snipers all over the place, and so once the boss comes down on the ground, that is ideally when you're going to burn him as fast as possible. Here on screen, you can see an example where we are controlling the ads and the pace of our encounter. We knew that after we did that damage, the ads came out and we went to our safe area. We got this safe area here, which is called like the right side, or depending upon your perspective, the left side of the map. And you got the exact same option on the other side under that pillar Brockus is on. I would suggest hiding up on the side Brockus is not, just because it seems like it's a little bit easier for us. Because when that shield is up, he can't shoot you anyway. So you just want to make sure you do enough damage where he puts that force field around him, because then you don't have to worry about him sniping you. If you're not able to do damage fast enough, then you want to hide under the pillar underneath him. Then it's going to be really hard to damage him, which is why we picked the areas opposite of him. Then you can also see on screen, we were done with all the ads, and we were ready for the next part, so I grabbed the core, and we knew that's when the ads start spawning in. You kind of see out there in the distance, you got some ads. I dropped the core, and I helped with engaging the ads, so that way we can actually get this thing beaten. Once you're in the safe spot, you got the ads beaten down, go ahead and slam that final core, and that is where you want to do as much damage as you possibly can, because it's going to be hard to stay alive as a group for a while, because Brockus is roaming. Those hiding areas from before will not work very well. So you want to keep your heavy ammo in mind. If you have not a whole lot of anarchy, you want to hang on to some of that anarchy and don't just burn it on ads. If you don't have tons of Xeno, you want to hang on to pretty much all the Xeno as you possibly can, other than Solar Shield, to use on Brockus. Same thing for your sniper rifles and whatever else you're using for primary DPS. That will help you to beat the boss really quickly and get your GrandMaster clear. Alright guys, I really hope this video was helpful. Please comment down below. Let me know if this worked. I know this is a tougher Nightfall than it was last week's GrandMaster in the Devil's Lair. Hopefully this video works well for weeks to come and various rotations. I appreciate you guys all so much for watching. You can catch me live on YouTube. So make sure you guys subscribe and ring the bell so that way you can actually see it. I also suggest you guys consider being a part of our eventual gaming community. We encourage everyone that's in Destiny to play Destiny and be in our Destiny clans, but you don't have to. So if you just want to be in there to have more folks to LFG with, fantastic. We are an option for you. Our really main rule is don't be a jerk. And there's other rules you have to read, but as long as you're trying to be a good human being, odds are you will be fine. Alright y'all, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, you sons of bitches. Have a great week, and happy grinding, y'all.